believe this? I mean, the Steelers, it doesn't make any sense.
Of course
not. They get outgained again. They win. The halftime, full-time comes in again, something you mentioned last week. Other people have been betting it all year. I mean, it's just a smoke and mirrors job, and these guys win again. I mean, it's nuts what's transpired here and how they look lousy and just, well, the other team will screw up or will just find a way to win and score late and get it done and get the interception late. It's bananas what we're watching here with this team.
Do you see what I'm saying now? I mean, every game is the same exact thing with the Steelers.
Yep.
It's just like, how? I mean, they don't get blown out. They're incapable of blowing out other teams. Actually, I would say last night, that's a pretty good sign that they were able to run the ball a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
On a Tennessee team that has now for a few years been really solid at slowing down other teams with the running game, but it was a combination of Warren and Harris last night. Their numbers look good. They look good overall in the game. But overall, you're right. I mean, with Pickett as the quarterback, they won a game last night, and I would say the best weapon on the team, George Pickens, had 2 catches for -1 yards.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know how he doesn't have the touchdown. I mean, you got to keep your feet in there.
Oh, well, yeah, he was
half of his
foot was out of bounds.
Yeah, no doubt. But it just defies logic here. Again, this has never happened before. They've been outgained in every game, and they have a winning record. Not only that, only the Broncos have been outgained by more yards. So what they're doing,
incredible.
It is. What they're doing here is astonishing. And you want to look at it today at DraftKings, they're plus 130 to make the playoffs. They're going to win 9 games. You still have the Colts on there. You still have a lot of some easy games coming up. So you look at this and say, well, they can't sustain this. They're not a good team. Green Bay, Arizona, Patriots at home, Colts, they're going to find a way to get it done.
Well, I'm sure.
And rest assured, they'll steal a game too, where it's whether it's a Cincinnati or a Cleveland or somebody like that, just like the first meeting against Cleveland. And we're down 7 in the fourth quarter. Defensive touchdown, and they win in overtime, something funky like that.
I already think they've stolen like 4 out of their 5 wins.
They have.
The only one that they were in control of the Raiders game out here. That was pretty much it. Yeah, they have the Packers on deck now. That's going to be at home, and they have extra rest to get ready for that. Is anybody going to like the Packers in that game? I certainly don't. I mean, at Browns, at Bengals after that is going to be very difficult inside their own division. They close Bengals at Seattle at Ravens. That's going to be tricky. And by the way, keep your eye on that because if they are a playoff team and they sneak in, that has the potential for 3 straight road games because the regular season closes at Seattle, at Baltimore, and then if they're playing in the road that next week in the playoffs, so it's always a tricky spot for teams that are in that exact scenario. But the defense is going to show up and carry this team every single night. Mm-hmm. And I actually thought that Will Levis in a second game again against that defense, I thought Levis again, not bad.
Oh, it's encouraging, no doubt. And it goes back to we have no idea what we're watching when we look at the quarterback play and try to drafting and all that stuff and evaluate it, right?
Sure.
Because the kid certainly looks better than Tannehill, and he looks a lot better than some of these quarterbacks. And why didn't he go top 10? And maybe it was the mayonnaise and the coffee and eating banana peels, and who knows. But certainly I have a lot of confidence in that guy moving forward. And in a tough assignment where a rookie quarterback never wins, he looked out and had a chance to win the game.
Sure, he was fine.
So, yeah, another prime time under. It's 75% this year. It's been an ATM machine the last 2 years. That continues to cash. But you have to be encouraged by what you see with this guy so far. And while they didn't light up the scoreboard, I thought he was pretty good in the passing game. You got 70 yards out of, was his prop 75.5? I think Henry was 75.5. He had 75.
Yeah.
Just like the longest field goal under. 48.5 comes 48. But I would be very encouraged moving forward with that guy as my quarterback. He looks, it's night and day when you compare him to Willis. Night and day.
Well, we're not even playing the same sport.
Exactly
with
right.
Those two.
So they're plus 750 to make the playoffs. Now, there's 2 more road games after this. It's unlikely to happen, but it comes down to now, are they going to go over their win total of 7.5 and how they play this out the rest of the season? Because they're really up against it now in a stacked AFC with another loss.
I would ask this question. What if last night was the beginning of week 2, right? And Will Levis was a starting quarterback at the beginning of the season. And he played the Falcons, and that was the week 1 game, and last night was week number 2. The hype for this kid, I believe, would be completely out of control, right? Because he would have started. That's basically, it's his first 2 games of his entire career. So he's thrown into the fire. He looked awesome against the Falcons.
He looks better than Pickett.
He looks better than a lot of quarterbacks.
Yes, he does.
He looks better than Bryce Young.
Yes.
right? He looks better than a lot of starting quarterbacks. He looks better than Desmond Ridder.
Yep.
We could probably name about 7, 8, 10 guys right now that Will Levis, after 2 starts, and it would be like, oh my God, this Titans team, not only could they possibly win that division, certainly going to be in the playoff mix in the AFC. We're not in week 2, obviously. I'm just saying like what it would look like after his first 2 starts. They have to go at Tampa, then at Jacksonville. So that was the beginning of a stretch where they play 3 consecutive road games, and plus 750. They're not a playoff team this year. The defense is just not good enough, and that's not it. I mean, maybe with him again at the beginning of the year would have been different, but here we are. After that, they get Panthers, Colts at home. So
yeah, but how to end is brutal closing stretch.
Yeah.
So you're right. Between the defense and the start that they've had, it's not going to happen. So, and it reflects that in the odds at DraftKings plus 750. I thought Wes Reynolds, who does a show with Matt Humans, had a good tweet. Tackling still illegal in the NFL. Again, how about the roughing the passer?
Oh, it's a joke.
Big call. Hey, you're 300 pounds. You're running full speed. Well, tackle the quarterback, but don't land on him and protect yourself in the process. Impossible. And they continue to call this crap every single week, these guys.
They must revisit that rule in the offseason, and they probably won't. If we could bet on that, will they have a discussion? Maybe a discussion. Will it go anywhere? My bet would be on no. They're going to retain it, and it'll come back and be the same exact thing next year.
Come on, Hussey, that crew, it's got to be common sense. Common sense must win out here. Well, what you're asking a guy, and it's even like we've seen many times where, you can't hit the quarterback high, you can't hit him low. Where am I supposed to hit him? And I can't fall on him either. And a lot of it goes for guys over the middle as well. Can't hit him high, can't hit him low. Yeah. Okay, but if you ask a guy, they'd rather go high than go low. Because stay away from my knees. Sure. But how they done this? So
well, something to keep in mind, though, too, the Deontay Johnson props. He's a target monster right now after coming back. Pickett loves going to him. He had 7 catches last night. He flew over his receiving prop. He had 90 yards. He finally scored a touchdown. On the flip side, man, the player props last night, it was a dagger to me. I added Okonkwo under last night before the game, actually in the morning.
Okay.
Under 24.5. He had 0 targets until the final drive. Not one. Levis never looked his way one time. And that drive just somehow continued to develop, and there was more penalties, and caught that last pass. Yeah, he landed on 28 yards. He had 3 catches on the final drive after having 0 targets the entire game. His first catch came at 1:17 to go.
Yeah.
A loser.
Vicious.
And I had Burks over. And the pass is going to go. I don't know if he's going to gets knocked out silly.
Yeah.
And they had the ball one final time, and he goes under by 1.5 yards. So while that game was going on, and I thought, the hype on Levis is deserved. He looks pretty good. Well, there's no hype.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.